Let's go.
You didn't think I was going to know?
What's going on, everybody? Hold on 1 sec. Just 1 sec. Wait. Hold on. I'm coming. Give me a sec. Just a minute. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the PlayStation Drive. My name's Spider-Man, and I'll be your host for this wonderful Drives events. I'm joined, as always, by the Supreme Court of Canada himself, Mr. Court Lalone. What's up, dude?
Oh my God.
Dude, it's
hilarious.
It's almost Halloween. We talked all about, you dressing up with the Indiana Jones hat and everything, and I was like, I gotta come.
Okay, so because Matt and I, people don't realize, Matt and I haven't seen each other in forever. Mm-hmm. They closed the Indiana Jones store.
What?
They still have the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, but it's closed, and I think it's because Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, as most people can probably figure out, will soon be the Avengers Stunt Spectacular.
Moving on to something.
That whole Indiana Jones area has been under whatever. So did not get that. I tried to buy a lightsaber, and I decided it wasn't worth 500 Canadian. And we went from there because they're just about 300 before tax US plus shipping, because you can't carry it on to a flight.
What?
They don't allow you. Yes. So that's not allowed to be a carry-on. And so you have to check it. And yeah.
Spider-Man is disappointed.
So I got a stuffy. I got an Ewok stuffy that my daughter is now taken from me.
I understand.
I got a Wicked stuffy because I was going to have it as my background. If it would fit. And he's the best Star Wars character along with Jar Jar Binks. And it didn't work out. It is what it is.
But how?
I had a wonderful time.
Good.
Galaxy's Edge is the greatest place on Earth. And I just want to go back.
Dude, I'm glad that you had a good trip. I'm glad that you had fun. I'm sorry that the Indiana Jones stuff and the lightsaber were a bit more of a mess than they needed to be, but I'm happy we've reunited. We're back together. I also had a wonderful time in Korea. It was a blast. Picked up some cool stuff, saw some friends, saw some family, ate a bunch, drank a bunch. It was wonderful. I know. And as I'm looking at this, you can totally see my face. I'm just going to take this off because I'm already overheating. 1 sec. The bit
I was going to say, I'm going to tweet it out, obviously.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously, I had to go into it. But before we get any more into it, Court, we need to clean the garage because we have a bunch of stuff to do. If you're watching this ridiculousness live right now on youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, make sure you ring that bell so you're notified when stuff like this happens. You can come watch, hang out. We appreciate all of you very, very much. If you're listening to us on your podcast service of choice, please make sure you follow, subscribe, like, whatever. Hit us with that 5-star review. It helps us grow and reach even more people so that they can come see me and Court do stuff like this. And finally, if you have a couple extra bucks to toss our way and tip yo drivers, head over to patreon.com/Carpool Gaming. Toss the bucks into the cup. The cup goes into the cornucopia. Content comes out. So much stuff for you to watch, engage, and get ready because there's a lot coming the next few weeks. We are in the review onslaught of the fall, and we have so much coming for you. So make sure you're ready, strapped in, and we appreciate all of you very, very much. Now, Court, we need to talk because it's, when you travel, when you go places, there's usually the thing that you might make, right? And it's a collection of different songs, different artists that may come together in a place where you might listen to these things on a flight, in travel. And I'm blanking on the name here, but can you remind me, what is that thing called that when there's a bunch of different music on a place?
What is a playlist?
What is a playlist? Thank you, Court. What's been on your playlist?
Oh, wow. Wow, I guess, yeah, I can actually say what's been on my playlist. So while I was on vacation, I played Uncharted Lost Legacy on PC. Our review is on youtube.com/Carpool Gaming. Go check it out. I have been playing Gotham Knights for a whole total of an hour because on the day of Gotham Knights release, an hour after I started playing said game, I received a copy, thanks to our friends over at PlayStation Canada, God of War Ragnarok. So I have been solely playing one game and one game only. I haven't touched anything else. I can give impressions of the first 5 hours and nothing else.
Yep.
I am 100% not going to be. I've seen a lot of reviews on them. I'm calling them reviews because some of these just feel like reviews. As someone that's played the game and I'm watching them, so out there for the people, like even though they're kind of keeping up with embargo, I would recommend not checking out any of them.
Yeah.
As someone that has played the game, don't, because I feel like there's way too many leading and saying things that they really shouldn't be. Because I don't want to give away anything. I will say this: the combat is phenomenal. Right off the bat, we get awesomeness. Like right into the gate. It is very cinematic. It is. I don't care that it's not next gen, as people are saying. The game looks beautiful. The combat feels smooth. It feels a little bit more refined than the 2018. It feels smoother. I can talk about the resolution modes. So you can pick, the resolution, or you can pick um, frames per second, but you can also pick frames per sec. You can also pick like 4K graphics that favor frames per second. So they give you like a little, which is my personal favorite. That's what I've chosen. That's how I'm playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
where I get my 4K, but I want to favor resolution because this is just my personal opinion. This game isn't as fast as like a shooter or such, but so I don't need the 120 frames or the six. I don't need that. I believe I haven't benchmarked it, but for what I'm reading online, from people's previews,
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's 4K 40. It looks like, or 4K 50, depending on the areas, is what you get if you pick graphics favoring resolution.
Cool.
I think the game is great. And I would suggest definitely getting the game when it comes out. And I don't want to say more. Like I would love to, but in the first 5 hours, there's a lot that goes on. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody because I do think this is a special game and we don't get many of those this year. We got some at the beginning of the year. Just go out and play it when it comes out. And I can't wait to be part of the conversation when this game launches. That's the other thing. I'll tell you this. It's tough when you don't got many people to talk to about playing a game. It's tough, but the game's been fun. I literally was playing it 2 seconds before we started the show. And I'm gonna play it later on this afternoon after I do my day job.
I feel you, dude. I'm excited to hear more of your thoughts. I'm excited to dig into it with you when the time comes, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of conversations to be had, and we're going to have fun doing it. As for myself, I've been playing a whole bunch of stuff as well. Similarly, thank you, PlayStation Canada, for hooking us up with the code of the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. I actually ripped through the entirety of Uncharted 4 on the Steam Deck. I put out a short over on Burnout Brighter talking about the performance. I found that locking the frames to 30 frames per second was the way to go, at least on Steam Deck. I did miss the 60 frames a little bit at the beginning, but I kind of got over it again. It's Uncharted 4 on the go in the palm of your hand, and I hopped into Lost Legacy as well for a couple hours. And again, like, these games are both fantastic. I love them both dearly, and just to be able to, again, lie in bed and to be able to play Uncharted 4, fantastic. You can get the game up to like around the 40, like a pretty decently stable 45 frames per second, going up to like around medium level graphics. If you lock to 30 frames per second, you can crank the graphics all the way up, and it looks fantastic on the Steam Deck. So really been enjoying it there. Excited to check it, spend more time with Lost Legacy, and obviously check more out as more of these wonderful PlayStation games come to PC. Spent a bunch of time, as I promised I would, with Disney Dreamlight Valley. I know it's not PlayStation, but that game rocks.
I know, right?
It has no right being as good as it is. Really and truly.
Look for a review coming out soon with myself and Lachlan on Dreamlight Valley that will be showing up on Carpool Gaming.
There you go. Like, the game is a ton of fun. I sunk way too many hours into it in a really short amount of time, and like, the pacing is great, the writing's funny. I love that you can be like sassy and kind of rude to the Disney characters. Like, it's a ton of fun. It has no right being as good as it is. If you have Game Pass and you're like a halfway fan of Disney or farming sims, 100% worth your time to check it out.
If this was in full release, it would be in my Game of the Year conversation.
100%. I agree. Like, I genuinely do think it is that good. I've also been obsessed with Marvel Snap. I'm just going to toss that out there because, of course, it's all over Twitter right now. Started playing it the day it came out. Can't stop playing it. It's a ton of fun. I'm not usually one on mobile games, but this one sucked me in entirely. The card battling's fun. Obviously, it's Marvel. It's just a blast, having a lot of fun with it. And I have to bring this up, okay? about a week ago at this time, I was on a bus. We got on a bus at midnight Korea time going to Seoul. It was a 5.5 hour bus ride. This wonderful bus had Wi-Fi. When a message from Locklith comes through on our Discord chat saying, I'm 5 minutes into the new PlayStation Drive episode, and I'm excited to see Court with the Hat and Matt's movie review. And I thought, what did I say? What check did my mouth cash that I cannot remember? What promise did I make? So I'm frantically whipping open YouTube, going to that episode, listening through, and being like, oh, right, I promised I was going to watch Wayne's World. So on the bus, again, I get incredibly motion sick on the bus, and I'm lying there. I'm like, the content, as I'm trying to find out where can I stream Wayne's World to watch it. The answer is nowhere. So I did some things.
Paramount Plus. Actually, that's incorrect. Paramount Plus.
Okay, well, Paramount Plus. Is Paramount Plus available in Canada?
It is. I have it.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, I found other means to watch it and ended up watching both the first one and the second one. And I have to say, great time. The first one, I think, was quite a bit better than the second one. Really enjoyed it. It was a fun time. Like the writing is fun. I love how it's just a massive movie about nothing. I thought the second one was a little bit too similar in terms of the problems that came up in the first one. But it's a great time. Those characters are a lot of fun. I kept my promise, and I was just like, I saw Lockleth's message. I was like, what did I say this time? We talk so many on these shows that I can never remember about the stuff that I talk about. But I did it. I watched both of them, enjoyed them. It was a fun time. So thank you for that recommend, Court. But my dude, we have like a month's worth of news to catch up. So let's slam these brakes because we have a bunch of stuff to get into. And let's start with a quick recap of the Plus game catalog for October, because this, of course, came out.
I know you're going to say Silent Hill, which it's been beaten to death with me, and I know we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of have to. But we're going to start. We're going to start with the October games that are on the premium and the extra categories. We got stuff like GTA Vice City. We got stuff like Dragon Quest XI, a bunch of Assassin's Creed, including Odyssey, a bunch of Dragon Quest, including Builders.
Play Odyssey if you've never played it, please.
And Quest Heroes 2. Inside, we got the Medium, which like also we'll circle back to around because like the Bloober team hate is unreal, and I've never played this game, so it seems very divisive. We got Naruto to Boruto, obviously the headline of this entire month. And we got a bunch of stuff like the Yakuza remasters for 3, 4, and 5 coming to premium. Limbo being on premium.
Yeah, like
for whatever reason.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that a PlayStation Plus game for free back in like the PlayStation 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, near launch, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like Contrast. I thought Limbo was like close to launch.
I think so.
So we had Resogun, Contrast, and I think Limbo was next. I think
something along those lines.
That or Flower or something. It was there.
And then also in the premium category, which we have Ultra Street Fighter 4, Castlevania Lords of Shadows, and Everyday Shooter. So, Court, what do you think of October's extra/premium category?
I think they're trying. Okay, I've said this before. I don't want to dunk on them for the first year, and it's not even been the first year, but those are Ubisoft games. That's bang for your buck right there. Like if you haven't played Odyssey, which as much as I always think, there's no one that's played it, everybody's played it. There are always gamers that haven't played these games that only play this. And if they have these subscription services and they jump into these huge Ubisoft games, that's their money for the month. Easy. Mm-hmm. Easy. And also, Limbo is a great game. So if you haven't played it, go out and have fun with it. It's not a huge, long experience, but there's some great puzzles in there. Phenomenal art direction, and it's got a good little story.
I agree. I think this is a really, really solid month. Again, there's a lot of Assassin's Creed here for people who may have not been able to check out all those entries. And along with a lot of Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest XI is fantastic. It's a really, really, really good JRPG. I've actually been curious about checking out the Medium, so I may hop in and do so once we get through this current onslaught. But like, I think the biggest confusion for me here is where it falls into these PlayStation Premium, the Plus Premium category again. Because again, I thought this was like a stream PS3 game / classic type thing, and then tossing in stuff like the Yakuza games, like Limbo, like Ultra Street Fighter 4. Not to speak on the quality of any of these games, because I think these are all fantastic games in their own right. Just a little confusing to me as to why they are in premium.
I think this to add value to premium, because I think I would assume that they are listening to what's the point of premium?
Well, but like this just seems to go back on what makes extra great. Like this to me,
I
feels. Do you
don't
know?
disagree.
Like that's
Like I said, I still feel that this is launched better than the original Game
I agree.
Pass. I still also think there's going to be more bumps along the road. I think it's a decent service. It does have value for the money you're spending, but I think this 3-tier service is too much.
Mm-hmm.
It should be 2 tiers, and they need to figure it out.
I agree. I think they need to work on whatever this split is. But yeah, I mean, we won't spend too much more time on this because again, we've talked about this extensively.
Yep.
But let's keep the PlayStation Plus train rolling. Coming from IGN, written by Ryan Dinsdale, we got the PlayStation Plus games for November announced. We are getting Neo 2, the Lego Harry Potter collection, and Heavenly Bodies. Corey, what do you think about November?
I have to go with my comment that I made to Sean. Is it though? Like, is it? Like Sean was like, "Oh, this is great," and I'm like, "Is it though?" Like, we're getting a Harry Potter game that's, Jesus, I don't know, 8, 9 years old.
I think this is like the remaster one that's like 7 years old or something.
Okay,
yeah,
but it's still, even the remastered still was originally a PlayStation 3 game.
I know.
Neo 2, supposedly this Neo, like, definitely not a game for me. Supposedly that's a banger. So, you know, every month isn't going to be speaking to every single person.
Mm-hmm.
As someone that has a kid, my kid hasn't played the Harry Potter games, so sure, that works out for me. And you know, Xbox has done a very good job with Game Pass lately with putting in kids games. So PlayStation does have to step up and put in some of these games that are for the younger audiences. So it's not going to speak every month, but again, this month is God of War. So for me, I wouldn't be looking at what's on PlayStation Plus. I'm going to be looking what's, you know, day and date to go by.
Yeah, agreed. I think this is a solid month. I have heard really, really good things about Neo 2. People really love that game, and I may check it out. Again, not usually a game for me, but the game does look cool. The Lego Harry Potter collection, again, whatever. It's there. It's a great way for families, and it's a good find.
It's a good game.
I'm excited for Heavenly Bodies. I've heard great things about it, and it looks like a fun, dumb, couch co-op experience. So I may load that up with Senna and give it a whirl because I've heard good things. It looks fun. Overall, I think this is a solid month. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a solid month, and I'm happy to get these games to be able to check them out. But my dude, let's keep this train rolling because, oh my gosh, you know what? Let's get the Silent Hill stuff out of the way because I don't think either one of us care all that much. But let's bring it up for the sake of doing so. Coming from GameSpot, and I'll be going across a couple different articles here just to kind of get the full broad spectrum of the games that were announced at the transmission. We got the Silent Hill 2 remake officially announced, and that is coming sometime in the future.
To PlayStation Plus for a year, we assume.
It's a PS5 console exclusive in development at Bloober Team. The next game that we got is Silent Hill F. It's a brand new game in the franchise from Resident Evil Reverse developers. Again, we haven't seen too much from it, but we got a short teaser trailer. We got a Silent Hill 2 film adaptation announced that's coming, and along with Silent Hill Townfall, which is a collaboration between Konami, Annapurna, and the BAFTA award-winning studio No Code. So a whole bunch of Silent Hill. Silent Hill is alive and well. It's coming. Court, does any of this do anything for you?
Well, they've never been horror genre games besides Dead Space, some of the Resident Evil, but I didn't even go back to these remasters that have come out. It's just, they're not my jam. Especially because, to be totally honest, a lot of these horror games, they beat the living daylights out of you to play through them, right? So I am 100% excited for Dead Space. I need to see more of Silent Hill if it's going to move the needle for me. But if there's another game launching at that same time that is more of an interest to me, I'll probably pass and not play Silent Hill at all.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. Silent Hill has never been a franchise for me. I'm not a big horror game guy myself. So all of this, I don't feel anything whatsoever. Like I'm happy that people are excited because again, Silent Hill is a franchise that a lot of people have been asking to make a huge comeback. So I'm glad people are going to have an opportunity to experience Silent Hill 2 again. And again, to jump into the new versions of these games. The Annapurna one has me at least a bit interested because again, Annapurna puts out really, really cool stuff. Don't know too much about No Code. So I think that one is the one that I'm most curious about. But even then, it's not something that I'm really dying for. I'll look forward to it when we see more of it.
And it's not made by Kojima, so.
Yeah, it's just whatever. Like to each their own, just not for me. But let's bring in a
Yeah.
friend into the car who has a question around this. Nagachaka over on Twitter asks, last week we had the Konami showcase all about the future of Silent Hill, and we had a Resident Evil showcase all about RE4 Remake and the Village DLC. So the question is, who had the better showcase, and why was it Resident Evil?
Honestly, Resident Evil speaks to me more because I
Yep.
like some of the games in that franchise, so I have to 100% agree with him. I think I'm hoping, that Silent Hill won't be like a lot of these PlayStation franchises that everybody clamors for and asks, and then when they get released, everybody's like, meh. That's my hope. But I do love the fact that Konami is doing a resurgence, just like we did with Capcom. Capcom in the last couple of years has done a resurgence, and then we've gotten so many great classics back from them in brand new forms. So there's a lot of Konami games that I loved growing up that are not Silent Hill that I would say, hey, everybody go buy Silent Hill 2, and then I might be able to go get more of these games that I want.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. I do agree with Nagachaka. I think Resident Evil speaks to me as a franchise a little bit more as well. A little bit more hit or miss for me, but like Resident Evil 4 is a game that I really, really liked when it came out. And I'm seeing a lot of people very, very happy with the Village DLC. So to me, I think just as a franchise, Resident Evil is more my speed. So yeah, I'd have to agree that there's just more there that got me excited than the Silent Hill one. But again, to each their own, and I hope that both of these, I'm glad both of these franchises are alive and well, and I hope they continue to do so. And like Court mentioned, maybe we get more from Konami down the road now that they're actually stepping back into the console market.
Would be awesome.
Would be awesome. Let's get a couple announcements out of the way in terms of release dates. Coming from the PlayStation blog, we found out that Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales is officially coming on November 18th. Dude, are you excited to hop back into Miles?
Very, very, very much so. This is my quintessential Christmas game.
Yep.
That game blew me away on the PS5. I think it'll blow you away on the PC, just like Spider-Man Remastered did. So I would expect everything that Spider-Man Remastered on the PC had with regards to sliders and so on and so forth will be in Miles Morales. And Miles Morales, dare I say, I liked better than Spider-Man. So it was my favorite Spider-Man game so far. I love the fact that it wasn't as long, especially when the DLC got added in on Spider-Man. It just felt like a slog at one point in some of those missions because the enemies just got so darn hard for no reason. I'm just like, oh, okay. All right, let's try one more time.
Yeah.
Don't do all the combos perfect, but and I truly love the acting in Miles Morales. I really love the story. It was very heartfelt, and it's just so good. Like it's really good.
It is really, really good. Yeah, I think this is a slam dunk in terms of timing coming up on, on Christmas. This game is wonderfully fantastic. I'm so excited to be able to hop in on the Steam Deck again. Like I played a bunch of remastered all over again just because I had the ability to take it with me on the go. So I'm excited. I have complete faith in the development of this port because like again, the Spider-Man Remastered one was fantastic. I expect more of the same here. And I can't wait. I think this is perfect timing for it. Let's hop along to another announcement that we got in terms of a release date coming from IGN, written by Adam Bankhurst. Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 Portable will be released on modern consoles in January 2023. Both games are coming to Xbox Game Pass, the Xbox Series games, Windows, I think Switch and Persona, and PS4 as well. All coming on January 19th, 2023. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I am a little bit surprised that both of these games are coming out on the same day. Seeing the amount of people that have now hopped into Persona 5 Royal on Game Pass and on Steam Deck and on Switch just warms my heart entirely because I absolutely adore that game. I was expecting them to kind of go, 5, 4, 3 with a couple months in between at least. So I'm a little bit surprised that these are coming out on the same day, but I'm super excited that they are coming. I cannot wait to hop into these games all over again because Lord knows I'm going to end up buying them once again because that's what I end up doing with these games.
Well, that's why I think it doesn't matter when you have the release date. These games are so popular to that fan base that loves them.
Yep.
I know you do. I know, Jesus, I was sitting beside Ryan at the Xbox showcase when that got announced, and I knew it was coming, and oh my God, did he ever scream in my ear. So I don't think the date matters. I think everybody's just going to be buying this game regardless. And like, this is going to be the perfect example of a game that launches on Game Pass. So all those Xbox people are going to play it for the first time, but the PlayStation people are going to buy it on PlayStation.
Yeah, no, I just like, I'm a little like, think it's a great release date for it. I'm just surprised that they're doing 3 and 4 on the same day. Because again, these games are very different, and I do think they are special in their own right. But again, I guess with Persona 4 Golden already being available on Steam, and I think P3P is the first time that we're getting this game again outside of the PSP. People who have Golden will probably already own it or be jumping in immediately. And then again, you can't go wrong with any of these games. I'm so excited that they're coming so soon because I can't wait to experience them again. It's gonna be awesome. Court, have you checked out Persona 5 Royal at all? I know you haven't. We've been busy. You haven't on Game Pass. Will you check it out?
I checked. No, not on Game Pass. Not a chance. Because I've already tried it before.
Fair.
So on another show that I'm on, Three Dads in a Console, Waba loves this game. Never stopped talking about it. So when it was free on PlayStation Plus at the beginning of the PlayStation life cycle, PlayStation 5 life cycle, I made the choice of, hey, I'll play this game. And then after 3 hours of playing this game and really, really not liking it, he was like, oh, you got to give it a little bit more and then you're going to like it. I'm like, don't ever. Nope. And that was when I made the rule that I am no longer doing the, hey, play this game for 4 hours and then it gets good. I'm not in on that. That's too much of my time. I'll say it again. As a parent, I just don't have time for that. So if the game doesn't catch me right away, I'm out. And it's just the way it is. And some games won't work for me. Some games will. I just had this recent example of Plague Tale. Kev loves it. And I just couldn't get into it right away. And I'm like, I just don't have time for this. Like, it wasn't clicking. I'm like, I'm out.
I've heard a lot of praise around that game as well, but just too many rats for me. But no, I get it. And like, to be fair, I hopped back into Yakuza 0 actually on the flight as well on the Steam Deck, and I do have to say that the first couple hours of that game are much slower than I remember in terms of the amount of cutscenes. So I understand, and I'm with you. I get it. But I'm just excited that these games are going to be more available for a lot of people who haven't been able to experience them.
And that's the best part. Like there's a lot of people out there that complain about the remasters and so on and so forth, but they kind of lose sight of the situation of, even when I said with the Last of Us, I was like, oh, it's been 10 years. And I'm like, wait a second. Like, some people were 10 years old when that game came out, and they're like in their early 20s now. And they're just getting into gaming like more than they were before, and they can afford to buy games. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And Persona, like, there's a whole Xbox generation that hasn't played these games because they, for some reason, and I'll never understand why, people get loyal to one plastic box over the other plastic box. But hey,
especially with P3P. Again, that game has been locked to the PSP for years and years. So I'm excited that more people will get to experience that one, because that one is a dark, weird game compared to the rest of them.
There are people that probably don't know the PSP ever existed.
That just hurt my heart. Let's keep it rolling over onto a story coming from our friends over at Mobile Syrup, written by Bradley Shankar. We got Canadians can now pre-order the pricey DualSense Edge PS5 controller. It is now available for pre-order in Canada, and it costs $269.99 CAD. It'll be available on January 26th, and the replacement stick modules will cost $24.99 Canadian. Court, is this too expensive for a controller? Do you think it's worth it? What are your thoughts on the price and the release date?
I think it depends on the player. I do love the replaceable sticks, because as we all know, stick drift is a thing. It is real. It is a pain in the bum. It doesn't seem to be going away, except there's a 8-bit DOE. I saw Jeff Grubb just do a review on an 8-bit DOE controller that doesn't. It's got this weird, different way of using the sticks, so it's impossible to have stick drift.
Okay.
So I'm very curious about this and might buy one just to test it out. But is it too expensive? I think this day and age in tech, sticker prices of things don't shock me anymore.
Okay.
But do I think that it's taking people out to be able to buy this? Yes. But I also think the market for this type of controller isn't me.
Fair.
I don't play shooters, and I play NHL. I play first-person story-driven games. I don't need quick response times. I don't need all that stuff. As someone that has a Xbox Elite Series 2 Halo Edition that wasn't that price, not even close, but that was before all this inflation and so on and so forth. I don't use it to play shooters. Like, I did lock it when I was playing Halo at one point for the triggers, and that was very cool. But then I dropped out of Halo. I will say this. When I'm playing NHL, the response time is better on the stick handling.
Okay.
On the Elite Series 2. I would suspect that if you game enough and you have the amount of money to spend on it, it's worth it to you. To me right now, it's not. but that's just me. It all depends on the person. I can't say it's overpriced. I could say that it's high,
Hmm.
but with inflation, what's going on in the world, it's probably just about right. And I have a funny feeling that if brand new consoles were launched right now, we would be shocked on the sticker shock on what these things would cost.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I don't know if this is 100% something for me at that price point. Again, like to a lot of the people who are in competitive gaming or who play a lot of the, the fast response times game, this is probably something that's huge for them. It's just hard for me just looking at it. It's like, it's not that much more expensive to pick up an Xbox Series S at that point. You know what I mean?
Or
It's
Switch.
or a Switch.
You can literally buy a Switch for that price.
And so like that's a lot to ask. Now again, this is a very specific market. This is a very specific niche product. So I get it. I just think that they would have been more successful trying to make it tried to make it a little bit cheaper. A lot of more people would have bought in, because if it was cheaper, a lot of people who like yourself or myself, who may not be dedicated in the way of, we need the fast response time, we need the paddles, we need all of these things, but we would have been more likely to pick it up just to see, hey, let's check it out. Let's see if this is worth it at whatever price point it might have been. I do think it's high. Again, like you said, I'm sure the world situation and everything that's going on does play into it. For me, this went from, maybe a day one buy to definitely a wait for steep sale before I even consider it.
Especially when you can get other elites like the Scuffs or even Elite Series 2 on an Xbox. They're in that $199 range. You can get a custom made Xbox Elite in the design lab for cheaper. But once again, this is a different niche. This is PlayStation's first foray into this.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to buy it. Like, they know this. It's just like at the launch here in Canada, the PlayStation 5 was more expensive than the Xbox.
Mm-hmm. And
I bought one.
I think
it is. I just look at it. I think we're even going to get more sticker shock with the PlayStation VR 2.
Probably.
And this is not going to change until inflation and everything goes down.
I think that's definitely a part of it. I think for me, the DualSense as itself is already my favorite controller. I think it's already such a good controller.
Phenomenal controller.
You know what I mean? That like, I don't feel like when I'm using it, I need an upgrade of that, of that size. Now, again, to different people, different areas, different, ways that they use the controllers, by all means. But I'm glad this exists. I'm glad Sony's getting into the game here. And I hope that this paves the way for more to come down the line that can be a little bit more affordable, that may not have as loaded features, but maybe some sort of midway entry point. Again, it's awesome to see that they're trying.
They're also doing something different. Like, I can't straight up compare 1-to-1 the Elite Series 2 to this, because the removable sticks is huge, and I can probably go out of the limb here and say that just being a thing makes it more expensive.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited this exists, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it more as we get closer to launch and whenever we have an opportunity to check these things out. But we have a couple big stories to talk about. Let's start with this one coming from IGN, written by Kenneth Shepard. PlayStation's London studio is working on a co-op action game set in a fantasy UK. In a lengthy interview with GameIndustry.biz, co-studio head Stuart White explained the studio is proud of its experimental history working with peripherals and virtual reality, but wanted to explore new challenges with its upcoming project. We definitely want to try something a little bit different, and I think this new project really channels our brave value and allows us to push ourselves on the curious front too. It's an exciting future. It's going to feature fantastical and magical elements intersecting with the familiar worlds in a fantasy version of London. We got a piece of key art for this game. London Studio, of course, has been in the VR and peripheral game for quite some time and worked on things like Wonder Book and SingStar. Most recently, they worked on Blood and Truth, which was a fantastic VR game, VR Worlds before that. So this is very much their first foray into a big, quote-unquote, AAA action game. And I'm curious to see what comes from this, Court. Did this announcement do anything for you?
I am not the free-to-play, online-only type person. I'm not the market they're looking for, and I know that the younger generation, man, I just pretty much aged myself there. That's their jam, right? They grew up with it. Like, that's just what they've grown up with, the Fortnites of the world. I hope, like, it seems, I think PlayStation's got like 12 of them in the works of like free-to-play games. They're not on an all hit. The key art look cool. I love the little dragon that was up on the thing. Like, it looks like different than something else I've already played. So sure, I'd want to see gameplay. I just want to see gameplay.
I'm very curious to see if it's going to be free to play, because we just know that it's co-op. I don't know if they've confirmed that it's...
The rumors are that these games,
some of which,
call them rumors, they are going to be. In fact, there's another game that supposedly is going to be free to play as well. And
I mean, we can talk about it. Yeah, The Last of Us multiplayer.
The Last of Us.
Which that I think makes way more sense. And again,
Well, we said this.
Yeah, like, but this to me, at least from the sound of it, a co-op game that's free to play makes less. I guess it depends on, is it a story-driven game? Exactly.
Yeah.
Can it be co-op as in like Fortnite? You can go in duos and go online and play against others, or is this like a story-based game that is going to primarily feature on co-op? These are things we don't know as of yet. I personally, with you, I really hope that this is a really cool, tight, story-driven game. Blood and Truth, again, the story was pretty fun given what it was. So them, the studio, kind of playing with what they're usually known for is awesome. If this is a really tight, awesome co-op adventure, I'm 100% in. Free to play, I'll check it out. There's no harm in us hopping in and taking a look. But I do have to agree with you. I think the key art looks really, really cool. Looks very stylized. Looks very it looks very, very pretty. So I'm with you. I need to see gameplay before I get more stoked. But I'm curious.
Yeah, and I've gotten to the point in where if it's an online multiplayer game, then it should be free to play. We shouldn't be charged for these things.
Yeah, if it is
no
purely
story component,
yeah.
Don't charge me for it.
100%. I'm with you. Now, let's talk about our last big story written by Ryan Dinsdale, coming from IGN. PlayStation is building a new studio to work with Naughty Dog on an unannounced game. Sony is developing a new development studio to work with Naughty Dog on a major PlayStation game. As spotted by VGC, a job listing shows the new team is being created in collaboration with PlayStation Studios Visual Arts, a developer that previously assisted with PlayStation's motion capture, cinematics, animation, and more across several franchises, including Uncharted and The Last of Us. The new developer will then work with Naughty Dog to create a PlayStation game. Court.
I think it's Uncharted. I think it's Uncharted.
Really? You think they're digging back in?
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay, why?
Because Naughty Dog's involved. That's why I think it is. I think if it was going to be another Last of Us game, I think Naughty Dog would make that. But they've made it not crystal clear, but they've said it over and over again that Naughty Dog is not making another Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not making another Uncharted. I think if they're working with Naughty Dog and they're getting help from Naughty Dog, that's why I think it's Uncharted. That's why I think there's more to tell. I think you could definitely do a prequel. Like, who are we kidding? Sully, Drake's. It's all there. There's definitely prequel available. You could even do a story about his brother. There's so much available, or his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert. I guess I just did that, eh?
Mm-hmm.
The game's old enough. Whatever. Get mad at me. But I think that I really think it's Uncharted, and it's not a sad face for me. Uncharted's one of my favorite franchises. I'll take an Uncharted game every 3 years all day long.
So you think it's Uncharted, but do you want it to be Uncharted, Naughty Dog, or like a new IP entirely? Last of Us. If you could choose,
they've said it's a new IP.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're saying, right? It's saying it's a new IP.
So we
Not
don't
new IP,
know. It's just an unannounced game.
Unannounced.
Yeah.
My biggest hope that they're remastering 1, 2, and 3, but they're doing it from the ground up. And we get Uncharted 1 that doesn't have terrible controls. It's got a phenomenal story, but that game is the only game I would think from the PlayStation 3 out of their big 10-hole games that plays so bad. Even when the Uncharted collection came out, Uncharted 1 just plays bad.
Yeah, Uncharted 1
the story's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But that's just me as an Uncharted fan, because I know when the PC released, some of the backlash was, hey, you're releasing 4 and Lost Legacy. Why didn't you give us 1, 2, 3? Because it's tough for PC players who haven't played this to hop in at 4.
Yeah.
But as an Uncharted fan, I want a new story. I want a Sully game. I truly do. I really like Sully as a character.
Mm-hmm.
I want a Sully game with somebody else, and that Drake is at the end of it, and we're doing prequel. Like, I want prequel, not Star Wars bad prequel. I want prequel.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Like, we do know, pulling from the story one more time, that there was a job listing for 2020 that showed the company was hiring for a third-person action-adventure game with melee and ranged combat. I don't know. For me, I would be stoked if it's Uncharted. I would rather them go the next steps route, following I mean, we've already spoiler alert, following his daughter kind of moving into the future. Especially if we bring back like Chloe or Nadine to kind of take that Sully role, I think would be really, really cool. As she kind of starts out her journey. But I really want this to be a new IP. Personally, I
just liked what you just said.
Right?
Make Chloe. I like Chloe the most.
Me too.
Make Chloe the Sully.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, she's so fiery. I love her.
She's amazing. So for me, I'd be stoked if it's Uncharted. I do want a new IP though. Like I think with them kind of the pedigree. I don't know, dude. I think I think it's a possibility. I don't think there's a world that it's The Last of Us. I do think you're right in terms it's either Uncharted or it's a new IP for me. I think
I
it's
think
one
it's
of those two.
Uncharted or Uncharted. I don't. I truly think, and I will put money on it. We can like timestamp it, do whatever. I don't think there's a slight chance that it's not an Uncharted game because there's way too many rumors going around that they're going back into this world. And PlayStation, if they've shown us anything in the last 5 years, they go back to the well.
The thing that I'm curious about though is that there are already like extensive rumors of Uncharted already being worked on elsewhere. So
True, but
that's
that could be. This could be the remaster that I was talking about.
could be. I am very very curious to see what this is going to be. Like I just love having new worlds to explore and new stories to tell. For me, if Naughty Dog is involved, that just kind of ups the ante. It does. I would love to see them in a new world. Like there was all that, apparently it was canceled or whatever, but there was all that concept art of stuff that was leaked of like a space-based Naughty Dog game. Again, like give me more, give me new areas to go to, give me new worlds to explore. If it's Uncharted, I will be happy as a clam. Like you said, I can take a new one of those, even if it's just the size of like a Lost Legacy every couple of years. 100% happy to exist in that world. But I do want it. I do want something new. I do want them to
Totally
show us
get
something
it.
entirely
And
different.
I'm on the way other spectrum. I want Uncharted 1 remastered from the ground up. I want a Dead Space. What they're doing with Dead Space, do it with Uncharted 1.
I'm gonna pull in Robbie
Give me a
Bobby
new
Miller.
Uncharted. Give me a new Uncharted game with the other one that the rumor, but give me a Dead Space, like a remake of Uncharted 1.
I'm gonna pull in Robbie Bobby Miller from the chat for just a sec, who says Golden Abyss remake. Yes, I would love a Golden Abyss
Without the
remake.
terrible controls. He's right.
Yeah.
That was one of the best Uncharted stories that
Yes.
not a lot of people played.
Exactly, and that game needs a full out remake, also just to get rid of all the Vita functionality that was shoehorned in. But yes, 100%, I would love to see that. Let's let some of our friends into the car because we have a couple questions to get through. Coming from Twitter by Mike, aka at BlazeKnight0923, asks, "What are some of your favorite Sony first-party sequels, and what made them rise above their predecessors?"
Infamous 2
Yep.
was unbelievable, but that once again, that's just a franchise. I think the first Infamous was at the very beginning of the PlayStation 3 life cycle where they're getting used to that cell processor. So Numere in Infamous 2 is just so iconic to me, just the world that they built and how interactive it was.
Mhm.
And at the time, it was so cool. I now look back and I'm like, okay, big whoop-dee that you can knock down a building here and there. But still, they did such a good job with that. That always sticks out to me is probably when we talk about, oh, is this a good sequel? Infamous 2 is always, to me, it's the better of the 3 games that we got.
I'm also going to shout out Mike again real quick because he did include an image of Gran Turismo 2 back on the PlayStation. I'm with you. Infamous 2 is one of the best ones. I still think that it's hard to top the jump from Uncharted to Uncharted 2. I mean, we just talked about it, but the quality that and just the absolute massive leap that led us to Uncharted 2 is just it's monumental. There's like a massive canyon between the quality of the two games. And again,
The train sequence is probably still one of the best sequences ever in an action game.
yeah, it's just like Uncharted 2 is just absurdly good. And I'm also going to say Jak 2 compared to Jak and Daxter, with the way that game entirely changed and just completely threw out a lot of what made the first one cool and then kind of reinvented it and made it kind of edgy and dark and weird. I have a lot of love for Jak 2 and 3, so I think that's awesome. But yeah, I think those are all great answers. And again, Infamous 2, one of the best. Just fantastic. Give me remasters. No, give me remakes of Uncharted Infamous 1 and 2.
That is like the one. I know Greg Miller puts it out like every E3. That is the one game that I would lose my freaking mind if they were like, hey, by the way, they just show like Cole put his hand down and the lightning hits. I would lose it. I would just lose it. I thought that. I think it was the Spider-Man 2 trailer when originally you see the lightning
Yes.
bolt. I'm like, oh my God, because it says it on the screen. I'm like, oh my God. No, it was Spider-Man. And I was so disappointed. It sounds so weird. I was disappointed in the Spider-Man 2 trailer because I thought I was getting my game. I thought I was getting it. I was like, oh my God, they're giving us the game. And then they didn't.
I get it. But
I don't even understand. And I think we've talked about this before. Superhero is like, it's in. He's like the ultimate anti-hero. Like, geez, even anti-heroes in. Just give us Cole. Like, bring it back.
100% with you. I hope we get it. We already know that we're not, but I hope we get it one day. Our next question coming from Sumit Roy over at Black Wyver asks, which PS5 or PS4 game that many disliked but you really enjoyed, and what's your opinion on Gotham Knights?
So I've only played Gotham Knights for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't really give one. I what I played, I didn't hate.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really notice any jank yet, but I just did an episode of Three Dads and they talked about it, and supposedly there's lots of jank to come.
Mm-hmm.
So I might wait for a patch on that. I have it, but I do really, really want to play it because I love that universe. And a game that people don't really like, well, I usually only play the games people like, and I don't like the games people like. I guess I am the opposite, right?
I think
It's
for
usually
me,
sports games. Sports games for
mm,
me, like people always it's dunk on them all the time, and I was just like, I just enjoy them. I'll give a perfect example. Call of Duty Ghost, I didn't hate.
okay.
People hated that game for some reason, but I also think that was at the time when people just wanted to hate everything to do with Call of Duty.
Yep.
I didn't hate that, and I also really liked World War II. Like both those Call of Duty games that for some reason people didn't like,
Mm-hmm.
I liked them, both of them.
Yeah, fair. For me, I think Infamous Second Son is genuinely. I love that game almost as much as I love the first two. I really liked Delsin. I thought the story was great. I really liked what they did with First Light as well. And I know a lot of people didn't really care for Second Son, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the powers were flashy. I thought the story was okay, but I thought it was just so much fun. Just being back in that universe, even though it wasn't directly related and it wasn't Cole 1-to-1, just kind of getting that gameplay back, that kind of that sucker punch style. I really really like Second Son. I had a blast with it, and I think it is way too overhated.
Yeah. Oh, I have the perfect overhated game, The Order 1886. The game's phenomenal. I'm sorry, you can all suck it. Game's great.
I might have to check it out and play all 2 hours of it. Our last question coming from Anti Macro on Twitter. Why does Court keep bullying me on TikTok?
Because it's fun. It's just go check out his TikTok. Oh, he's just so self-deprecating. He just sets himself up. I'm sorry.
Go check that out on TikTok. But that, my friend, brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming. And make sure you please donate if you have extra bucks to Extra Life. It's coming up very, very soon. Next weekend, there's going to be a lot going on. So make sure, if you're able to, help out those big, beautiful kids. Donate some money towards some wonderful kids' charities. Come support Extra Life. We appreciate all of you very, very much. Court, if people wanted to see and hear more from you, where could they do so?
You can find me at Courtlawn on Twitter, or you know what? Just find me on Twitter. I got all my links there. I don't got the the great slogan to say at this point. I always find it too awkward for myself, and I don't like self-promoting. So just go find me on Twitter. If you don't got Twitter, then I guess you'll miss out.
Go
TPR.
find Court on Twitter. Make sure you go check out his other podcasts, including Three Dads and a Console, or just Three Dads. It's fantastic. Make sure you go check out Xbox A when stuff happens there sometimes too. I will promote Court for him because I support what Court does. And you can find me over on Twitter at burnout_Matt and at youtube.com/burnoutbreader, where we talk all things video games, mental health, and social justice. This brings us to the end of the show. Once again, we appreciate all of you very, very much, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
As always, we love to thank our Patreon supporters, and I want to start off with our ultimate producers, Robbie Bobby Miller, Tony Baker from Quest 4 Pixels. Please subscribe to youtube.com/Quest 4 Pixels today. Dallas Ford, co-host of The Blaine Game. Support Dallas on YouTube to get these guys to 100 subs. Emily O'Kelly, Trucker Sloth, Jonathan Brown. The new episode from PME is called Gems and is available on Spotify and Apple Music. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. And honestly, Carpool Gaming's tech support. Links are all in the show notes. Please support these ultimate producers. Platinum producers, Marcus McCracken, RJ Kern and Skinny Matt. Gold members, Anna W., Cicely Caruso, Dallas Robbins, Daroesh, Foolish Fuji, Jose Jimenez, Marcus O'Neill, Nagachaka, and the Snack Network. Also, I want to thank our newest patrons, Sean Hennigan and Ryan Craig. Also, I want to thank Tim Paulin for upgrading to Gold member. Thank you very much.